week's Champion Trends feature Annie, Thresh, Evelynn, Jace, Shyvana, and Vi. I'm Lindsay with Zam, and this is LolKing's League Trends. Let's dive into Summoner's Rift. The increases in pick rate this week are headed up by Rengar, with Lee Sin, Annie, Ezreal, and Riven rounding out the top 5. Even though Annie received a small tweak to her early game, she will still cut you like a birthday cake. Her stun duration was decreased in her early levels, but at level 1, her stun will last just as long as before. Along with the nerf to her stun, Annie received a buff to her friend Tibbers! At max rank, the cooldown is reduced by 40 seconds. Add in 40% cooldown reduction, and you can have Tibbers on the field every 48 seconds. That means that if he stays alive for his full duration, there will only be a 3-second downtime between each Tibbers. Overall, the change nerfed Annie's early game and laning phase, but after she hits the level 11 mark, she becomes stronger than she was before. The lower cooldown on her ultimate allows her to use it more freely and create more plays around the map. I hope you like teddy bears because this kid has one ready for you. Champions, the largest decrease in pick rate for the past week were led by Thresh, followed by LeBlanc, Wukong, Leona, and Gragas. Thresh's dropping pick rate is a bit surprising, seeing how he's one of the most contested supports along with Annie and Leona. Even with the decrease in the past week, Thresh still sits around 40% pick rate and remains a popular pick. Thresh is one of the more interesting champions made by Riot in Season 3 and was immediately picked up by players around the world on his release. He is both an aggressive and defensive support. He can hook enemy champions or flay them towards you to set up easy kills for your carry or ganks from your jungler. While being aggressive, he can always provide great zoning and peel from his ultimate, the box, and give any carry an escape with his lantern. Thresh is one of the few champions that can be paired up with nearly any carry, and we will continue to see exciting Thresh plays made around the world. Following up the champs, the largest increase in win rate. Kog'Maw heads the list, followed up by Karthus, Nautilus, Fiora, and Evelynn. We saw Eve's ban rate go down in the last episode, so naturally her win rate has gone up. Because she got nerfed a little, people assume she's not ban worthy, but au contraire, she is just as dangerous in the early game as she was before. The biggest change to her damage was that Ravage was changed from being magic damage to physical damage. Most Evelynn jungles run attack damage marks to help her first clear, so she's not losing out on damage from Magic Pen, unless she gets it from the items. Since the masteries give you both 6% Magic Pen and Armor Pen, Evelynn is not losing much damage in the early game on Ravage. In the end, Evelynn's early game is still pretty much just as strong as before, so her ability to snowball her lanes is still there. The changes were aimed towards her mid and late game as itemization becomes more difficult. Our next top 5 champions are heading up the largest decrease in win rate for this past week. Anivia is up first, followed by Ryze, Jace, Veigar, and Sion rounding out the top 5. Jace used to be considered one of the strongest champions on the Rift, but due to his nerfs a while ago, his success rate has been decreasing ever since. One of the biggest changes that removed him from competitive play was the cooldown on his acceleration gate. Now a constant 16-second cooldown, Jace won't be able to get nearly as many empowered shock blasts as before. Another change was the way that tier stacked on Jace. Previous to his nerfs, you can keep changing your weapon form to gain tier stacks, but Riot has since fixed that. Jace had a huge power spike around 20 minutes because he was able to stack up his tier quickly and, if played well, would have a Muramana at this point in the game. Some players have opted to play him strictly in the main lane, as you can get 10% CDR from blue buff and rushing CDR boots to allow him to spam his combo more often. However, even doing those things has not made Jace any more viable. Poor guy. Champs with an increase in ban rate for this week are led up by Evelynn with over 30%, followed by Riven, Shyvana, Annie, and Dr. Mundo. This half-dragon continues to be a menace in the top lane and jungle, even after her recent nerfs. Shyvana's overall damage was reduced, but even then, she is still considered to be one of the best top laners in the current meta, alongside Renekton and Dr. Mundo. Shyvana is able to become extremely tanky from her ultimate while rushing a Blade of the Ruined King, which shuts down the enemy top laner. She also has the option of going full tank, and that's when she becomes this massive frontline for her team. Even when Shyvana builds full tank, she is still able to do considerable amounts of damage to the enemy carries. Due to the changes, Renekton will have an easier time shutting down Shyvana in the early game, and in turn, she will have a harder time trying to shut down Dr. Mundo. In the end, the holy trinity of top laners pretty much stays the same. We might end up seeing other new picks in the top lane though, because this battle cry of "Riot nerf please" doesn't seem to be going away no matter who's OP. finally, the decrease in ban rate this week is led by Vi, followed by Kha'Zix, Gragas, Kayle, and Elise, rounding out our final top 5 for this week. With almost 25% change from last week, Vi's ban rate took a massive hit. Regardless, she is still considered to be one of the strongest junglers, sitting around a 25% pick rate. Vi's ban rate drop most likely has to do with other champions like Evelynn and Riven's ban rate skyrocketing back up this week. Vi is still a very strong pick in the jungle with her fast clears and effective ganks. What she excels at is single target initiation with her ultimate, Assault and Battery. This ability is guaranteed engage and comes with a hard CC on a priority target. Building health on Vi is especially effective, as using an ability generates a 10% health shield, equals more tanky. Scary. Even though she's so tanky, Vi does a considerable amount of damage and is capable of dueling almost anyone with her percentage health damage from her denting blows. Yeah, remind me not to piss her off. And that's it for this week's show. Please be sure to subscribe to LolKing on YouTube to keep up on these league trends. And be sure to subscribe to Cloth5 on YouTube for more great analysis. I'm Lindsay. Thanks for watching.